And we're back, still on the budget project. Okay, so there's one last thing that I wanted to show you on the budget project. Let me move these things out of the way. Okay, so this is my budget project. I created my spreadsheet, I made my little tabs, I filled everything out. So I had my income section, I had my house that I decided to buy, I have my expenses, everything's good, my 401k, everything is all set up the way I want it. And now I need to do the budget. So I have my budget table. It's looking good. I've got my little retirement report. Everything's nice. But I have some issues here. Because all of a sudden, I know I'm spending $2,000 on a house every month. But my expenses say I'm only spending $273. So something's up, right? And if I look a little bit, I can see that something's up. And on this one, notice I put in an other column because I know that there are things that we left off. Like we don't have car insurance in here. We don't have some other stuff. So I just decided to do like 15% of my monthly income and call that an other category. It's not a requirement. It's just slightly more realistic. But this $273 a month in expenses is not realistic at all because I have $1,000 that I'm spending on other stuff. I have $2,000 I'm spending on a house. So I have to look at this. In my expenses column, if I look closely, my house is negative, and so is my car. And the reason for that is that when you calculate payments, it's negative, right? Like this payment comes out, my payment all by itself is $1,200, and it's negative because it's money going out of my account. That's a payment. But when I pull it over into the budget table, all of these are payments too, but I put them in as positive numbers, right? My, food cost me $500 a month. That's what it cost, was $500. I didn't set up like a payment on it, so it was just the number 500. But my house and my car were actual payment calculations, so those are negative. So I need to fix this because I want everything to be all the same sign, whether it's negative or positive, so that I can subtract it from what I'm actually bringing home, and that way I know whether or not I'm over budget. So there are a couple ways to fix this. The first way is I can say, okay, well, I know that this is a payment. I know that this is a payment. So I can go ahead and take the negative of this, right? Because negative times a negative is positive. So I can go in here to my formula and see it's referring back to this sheet house, cell E10, and I can multiply that times -1. It goes positive. So all of a sudden this jumps up and that's good. But now I need to do the same thing with the car. And those are the only two things. So I'm going to click up in here. I'm going to go times -1. Those are the only two things that I use the payment calculator for. So those are the only two things that I have to worry about. That's one way. So everything turned positive. It was all fine and good. I came down here for my remaining balance. I subtracted the two, and this is what I have left over. If I have this much left over, probably I need to be adding more to my savings or doing something like that. Like if I have $1,500 almost left over at the end of the month, maybe I need to put a bunch more of that into savings because that's going to help me. Like if I want to have a down payment for something later on, or if I'm going to need to have an emergency fund, you need to be like socking away some money. Or I might want to open some money market accounts and invest that. Okay, so that was one way to get these all positive. Let me undo this. The other way is to come over into this column and just take the absolute value of each of these. So the absolute value is a built-in function. So I go A equals ABS for absolute value, open parentheses, select this, close parentheses, enter. Then I can click and drag that all the way down. It makes everything in this column positive. And then I can add those up, equals sum of these. Or I could even come over here and do it right here, which probably that's a better idea. Let's do that. Equals sum, open parentheses, all of these, close parentheses. And it does the same thing. Now, what I would probably want to do, you either need some kind of a title for this, or what I would tend to do is I would hide this column so people can't see where I turned that. So what you would do is you would click up here on the column title, right click, which if you're using a Chromebook, you touch the mouse pad with 2 fingers at the same time, and that's a right click. And I would hide column. So now I have my work is there, but I just don't see it. I just see the result of it. So those are the two ways to handle this problem.